My dad texted me at 2 a.m. Grab your sister and run. Don't trust your mother. So I did. The phone screen burned my eyes in the darkness. 3 sentences that made no sense. My father had been on a business trip in Seattle for 4 days. He never texted after 10 at night. Never used urgent language. Never said anything that would alarm us. I threw off my blankets and grabbed clothes from the floor, pulling on jeans and a sweatshirt while my brain tried to process what "don't trust your mother" could possibly mean. Mom was downstairs in the living room where I'd left her an hour ago, watching some crime documentary and drinking wine like she did most nights. Except Dad wouldn't send this message without reason, and the specificity of grabbing my sister and running suggested immediate danger, not paranoid delusion. I shoved my feet into sneakers and grabbed my backpack, dumping out textbooks and replacing them with my laptop, phone charger, and the emergency cash I kept hidden in my desk drawer. $300 in 20s that suddenly felt like the most important thing I owned. My sister Becca was 12 and slept like the dead. Completely undisturbed by my frantic movement in the next room, I crept down the hallway and eased open her door, wincing when the hinges creaked. She was buried under blankets with just her dark hair visible. Waking her quietly would be nearly impossible, but waking her loudly would alert Mom downstairs, and Dad's message had been explicit about not trusting her. I knelt beside Becca's bed and pressed my hand over her mouth before shaking her shoulder. Her eyes flew open in panic, and I felt her try to scream against my palm. I put my finger to my lips and whispered directly into her ear. Dad sent an emergency message. We need to leave right now without Mom knowing. I'll explain everything once we're safe, but you have to trust me and stay completely silent. Becca's eyes were huge with fear and confusion, but she nodded against my hand. I released her mouth and she sat up, reaching for her glasses on the nightstand. I'd already grabbed clothes from her closet, jeans and a hoodie that I pressed into her hands while gesturing urgently for her to change. The window in Becca's room faced the backyard and had a screen I'd removed dozens of times for sneaking out to meet friends. I popped it free with practiced ease and looked down at the 8-foot drop to the garden below. Not ideal but manageable, especially with the flower bed providing softer landing. I threw both our backpacks out first, watching them land in the mulch, then helped Becca climb through the window frame. She hesitated at the edge, looking down at the drop with visible fear. I gripped her wrists and lowered her as far as I could reach before letting go, and she fell the remaining 4 feet with a muted thump. I followed immediately after, dropping and rolling to absorb the impact, my ankle twisting slightly on landing but holding my weight when I stood. Becca was staring at me with questions written across her face, but I grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the back fence. We had maybe minutes before Mom checked on us or heard something suspicious. The fence was 6 feet of privacy wood that I scaled by stepping on the decorative crossbeam, pulling myself over the top and dropping into the neighbor's yard. Becca struggled more with the height, but I coached her through it, catching her when she dropped down beside me. We ran through 3 backyards before emerging onto a street 2 blocks from our house, both of us breathing hard. Only then did I pull out my phone and read Dad's message again, looking for details I'd missed. The timestamp showed 2:03 a.m., sent 7 minutes ago. No follow-up messages, no missed calls, just those 3 sentences hanging in digital space. I tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail. His professional outgoing message incongruous with the emergency he'd declared. Becca was pulling on my sleeve, demanding explanations I didn't have. I showed her the text and watched her face go pale, even in the dim streetlight. What does he mean, don't trust Mom? What's happening? I don't know yet, but Dad wouldn't say this unless it was serious. We need to get somewhere safe and figure out what's going on. I was trying to sound calm despite having no plan beyond getting away from our house. We were standing on a residential street at 2 in the morning with nowhere to go. My phone buzzed with a new text, this time from Mom. Where are you girls? I heard noises upstairs. The casual tone felt wrong given the circumstances. Another text from Mom appeared before I could decide how to respond. This isn't funny. Come downstairs right now or I'm calling the police. The threat landed strangely because what would she tell the police? That her teenage daughters had left the house at night? We weren't missing or kidnapped. We'd left voluntarily based on our father's warning. Becca was crying quietly, the kind of scared tears that come from being 12 and having your normal life explode at 2 in the morning. I put my arm around her shoulders and kept walking, moving us toward the 24-hour convenience store 3 blocks away. At least there we'd have lights and potential witnesses, some minimal safety while I figured out next steps. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Mom, each one escalating in tone from confused to angry to threatening. The convenience store was nearly empty except for a bored clerk scrolling through his phone behind bulletproof glass. Becca and I huddled in the back corner near the refrigerated drinks, trying to look casual despite being 2 teenage girls alone at 2 a.m. My phone rang and Mom's name appeared on the screen. I stared at it through 3 rings before answering, putting it on speaker so Becca could hear. And that's when things took a turn I never expected. Full story is linked below or on my channel.